Good evening, everyone. 'Tis I, Sonia, and 'tis Michelle to the left of me, right of me, this way of me. And I got it right this time, so I'm a little bit excited. So I pointed the right way. So, yay. Welcome to the OTFB Archer Football Podcast, College Edition. Another great week. Can't wait to talk about college football with you guys. Michelle, how you been? I'm glad work let you off tonight.
Barely, just barely. I just got in. But I've been pretty good. Excited
That's
about
good.
my
That's
week.
good. Yeah, we got some good games coming up. Had some great games last week. Um, but yeah, I was just talking with Michelle. We were just talking because last year we really or this year we're really kind of getting away from talking about the smaller conferences. And, everybody knows the Power Five and everybody loves the Power Five, which is great. But there are other kids out there besides your Power Five schools. And we have great representation in the NFL from outside of these Power Five schools. So always great to give them a shout out. So today I figure we could just take a glance at Conference USA. Now, granted, we're not as prepared as we could be, but that's okay. Conference USA is still very good. We can talk about their players of the week. And then I figure we could get into what potentially could be a Heisman moment. Oh, I was about to say Michelle disappeared for a second, but she's back.
Oh, did I?
But yeah, we could get into what potentially was a Heisman moment from
I
the
don't know
game.
what's going on in my backdrop. I'm disappearing off and on. Go ahead.
It's okay. We still love it. We still love you. As always, if you guys are watching on Blue Sky, Facebook, Twitter, come on over to YouTube so that you can interact with us. We've got our good friend Kristen, who's always representing strong. And Kristen, I love it because you have Andy Griffith. And my dad's a big, huge Andy Griffith fan, and we've had a good time with Andy Griffith. So we'll have to talk about that one day. And welcome our friend Cleveland Kate. Hey, Kate, how you doing?
Kate's late. Sorry, apologies.
Kate's late. I love it.
It's okay. You're still here, and that's all that matters. Welcome, Kate. I was getting to the point where I was about to be like, not sure where Kate is, but she'll be here soon, I'm sure. Welcome, Cleveland Kate. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Finally,
well,
just really enjoying football season. We've still got some basketball going on here because the NBA has started, but baseball's done. Been done for like a week or so, and it's like I can worry about football.
Right. You've got other things to worry about, other fish to fry, but also NCAA basketball season is starting too. So great time of year.
Madness.
It is madness. So, Kate, I was telling Michelle, I figure we could kind of just get into a little bit of Conference USA, talk about the players of the week, talk about how, even though it's not a Power Five conference, everybody still loves those smaller team schools, and there's still talent to be had out of those schools. So there's that. But I was going to talk about Conference USA because my hometown, Kennesaw State Owls, hoo-hoo, are bowl eligible for the first time. And then I also figured that we could talk about what potentially was a Heisman moment in Indiana last weekend.
Yeah, and I would throw out. I'd like to talk about what USC pulled off in their game against Northwestern last weekend.
Sure. You want to start with that? It doesn't matter.
Well. USC has a punter by the name of Sam Johnson who wears number 80. And this week, they took Sam Heward, who is their second string reserve quarterback, and changed his number from 7 to 80. If you looked at the program, he was listed as number 80. Apparently, the head coach for Northwestern didn't pay all that much attention to it. So on a 4th and long, when number 80, Sam, came out to punt, it was actually backup quarterback Sam who threw a pass, converted on first down. They ended up scoring and taking the lead 14-7. According to the NCAA rules, they should have been penalized 15 yards for what they call unfair tactics. There's a rule, an NCAA rule that says two players playing the same position may not wear the same number during the game. So technically, they're saying you had two punters wearing number 80. You didn't. You had a quarterback and you had a punter who theoretically would never be on the field at the same time, right? But they did it. They pulled it off. A whole lot of people complained about it. Lincoln Riley, who's the head coach for USC, said that, listen, we did this a couple weeks ago. We legally submitted the paperwork. If you look on the rosters now, it shows him as number 80. And then David Braun, who's the coach for Northwestern, said, they did legally submit it. And this is a lesson that I have learned and that I will pay attention to for the rest of my career, which is to have one of the people on my staff go grab a game day program, look and see if two people have the same number, and be prepared.
Figure it out.
So I haven't heard yet if they're going to face any sanctions for it. I think technically what they did is legal. It might have felt shady. But what I think is funny is they did a commercial with both Sams at a coffee place, and the barista yells, "Coffee for number 80," and they both stand up, and then she looks at it again and goes, "Sam," and they're both still standing there. And then another girl comes over and goes, "Sam number 7," and then they were both like, "Oh, okay." And then they went and got, like, they're having fun with it now. I hope it was worth it to beat Northwestern. They probably didn't need a trick play to beat Northwestern, but they won't be getting away with that the rest of the season.
No. And that is, that's one of the things about college football is that you have two number 80s, two number, they all just kind of come together. You know how you have your linemen in football that have specific numbers and stuff like that. So that's I think one of the funner parts of college football too. So definitely something to keep.
Well, and the numbers used to, both in college and in the NFL, the numbers used to really mean something. And now I'm seeing a lot of people with like 0 and 1, right? Quarterbacks used to be 1 to 19, running backs were in the 20s, tight ends were in the 80s. I think offensive line was like 50 to 79. Like, you could tell by somebody's number what position he was playing. And so many guys have their favorite number from whenever that they just keep. When Sauce Gardner got traded to the Colts, and they already had a number 1, and he wanted to still wear number 1. And the guy that had it said, "Dude, not an issue. You can have 1. I'll switch over and move to 2." Because he understood his position in the authority chart. Sauce is number 1. All right, I'll take number 2. But corner shouldn't be 1. Grant Delpit for the Browns wears 0. It's like, can we just go back to where your number meant something?
No,
we can't.
Come on, we're young, we're hip. This is what we have to do.
Is that what it is? We're young and hip? Is that what we're saying?
Young and hip.
All right. Kristen, you heard her. I'm young and hip. And woke.
And woke. Yes. 6'7", whatever. Anyways.
I do it now just because my grandsons roll their eyes. They're like, "Grandma, stop." And I'm like, it's hilarious.
No, that's the best part about it.
Yes.
Anyways. Now, Conference USA. Let's get into it. So like I said, Conference USA, home to my hometown Kennesaw State Owls. And I guess I put hometown in quotes because Marietta, bless it, it's not my home. Michigan is my home. Marietta is just my adopted home, if you will. But anyways, they are bowl eligible. And so I figured we could just kind of talk about some of the players that made player of the week this week and just talk about how I think that they could be wonderful children to maybe see in I don't know, the NFL one day. That's my thoughts. So we'll start off with everybody loves a good defense. I know Kate, Kate, how do you feel about defenses? Are you more of
Oh, I'm
a
a defensive girl. Defense wins
okay?
championships.
Defense does win
Offense
championships.
sells tickets. Defense wins championships.
Bingo bango. The defensive player of the week was Caleb Nix from Jacksonville State or Jack State. And he is a junior safety. And he had his second defensive touchdown of the season, returning an interception, 93 yards for a touchdown. And they got a 10-point win or 10-point lead over that. And they ended up beating UTEP 37-20. It was the longest pick six in program history and the first of 70 or more yards by a Gamecock since 2017. Oh, Big Red, not your Gamecock. This is a different Gamecock, just FYI. And so then that made Jack State Bowl eligible. So there's that. Love a good I love a good pick six. I'm telling you what, especially if it's like a long run back. Those are like some of my favorite plays ever. So shout out to Mr. Caleb Nix from Jack State. Again, defense wins championships. Love it. Hang on. I'm going to tell you a couple more here.
Well, the freshman of the week is a defensive lineman from your Kennesaw State. Mm-hmm. Elijah Hill. I love that they have a freshman of the week.
Me too. I think they need to incorporate that more. That would be good. So anyways, oh my goodness, he was in the backfield for Kennesaw State. This is their 7th straight win in a row. So there you go. They beat New Mexico State 24-21. He had 1.5 sacks, 3 tackles for losses, and he turned in the 6th best overall PFF defensive grade among FBS freshmen for week 11. Kid to keep your eye on.
Yeah,
that's definitely.
He's on my list. If he finishes the season strong, he's someone that I could see going into the portal. And no offense to Conference USA, but he's going to want to move into a different division where he's going to get looked at a little more than he is, especially if he shows out in that bowl game, since they're bowl eligible now. I think a lot of these kids that we're talking about tonight may try to move on to a different conference, a bigger program, just to have a better shot at getting noticed by the scouts for NFL and for a future spot in the draft.
Agree. Yeah, I could see that happening. And again, also, I think that also kind of helps because they played Indiana this year. But also helps bringing in other types of programs like that, them getting invited to other teams, other big teams. Could even play Miami next year.
Too soon.
Oh, goodness. And then the offensive lineman of the week is another kiddo from KSU. Y'all, I promise I'm not trying to pick on all KSU students, but it's okay. It's okay. It's Josiah Chenault. And he's the offensive lineman of the week. He's a redshirt sophomore out of Sanford, Florida. The Owls didn't have a single sack all game. That's the type of stuff you love. That is the type of stuff you love, especially with the need for offensive linemen coming up in the draft and coming up just for teams in general. So shout out.
Yeah, one of the things I like about Josiah is he played every single snap. And that's huge in the NFL. When Joe Thomas, who's a Hall of Famer, played in Cleveland, he set the record for the most consecutive snaps played for an offensive lineman. Your availability, right? We talk about that all the time. The most important ability is availability. He played every single snap. He's played every snap this season through 11 weeks. And that's a big deal, to be that effective and durable and to be able to play as much as he plays is huge if he wants to play in the NFL one day.
Agreed. And especially I've noticed more like with linemen that they're plugging and playing them anywhere on the line. And so especially if he's starting to play different positions on that line, makes him even more marketable.
So schools that do that, coaches that do that, and Michelle, you should probably talk because I'm going to keep interrupting and talking all night. Those guys that get drafted in like rounds 5, 6, and 7 in the NFL on the offensive line are guys who have had significant time at guard, at tackle. They've moved around because you need depth in the NFL, and you need a guy who can start at guard, and if you need to move him to tackle because somebody's hurt, to be able to have that flexibility. A number of the guys that Dana and I talked to last year at the Combine played multiple positions on the line, and they were also gentlemen who got drafted, because that's something I think the NFLs need. They don't need a specialist at left tackle. They need a guy that can play wherever he's needed.
Yeah. I mean, I think the two positions on the offensive line that probably you want them to be specialists at their position is the left tackle and the center. The left tackle because that's the blind side, and the center because that's the most important person. That's the quarterback of the line. But those guards and tackles, they need to be interchangeable. They need to be able to do more than one thing. And even the center or the left tackle probably can play the other side. But you definitely want a left tackle that plays a lot of left tackle, because that's your highest paid. That's almost your highest paid on the line. And then you have your center, because everybody can't just jump into that position. But if you're an offensive lineman, the more positions you can play, the more likely you're going to get drafted. That's going to help you. That's going to help your prospects, put it that way. Shouldn't say you're going to get drafted, but it definitely helps your prospects if you can move around, because injuries, and they don't have a lot of them on teams. So there are not a lot of guys, you could they probably have 7 backup wide receivers, but they don't have a lot of offensive linemen. They just move the guys around. And so, I heard a friend.
I was about to say, Niles agrees with you 100%. He's been a little out of sorts today because we didn't go for our usual walk and play fetch and stuff like that, because I had other stuff to do. So he's a little out of sorts. Forgive him for chiming in.
He was just agreeing, that's all.
Huh?
He was agreeing, that's all.
Exactly. Kristen asked actually a really good question. It is not a dumb question. She says, if a smaller division school plays really well for many years, could they ever move up to Division I? Or is that something the big schools buy into? Very good question. Definitely not dumb, especially with all this realignment crap that's been going on these past couple years. So yeah, and then our coach Stephen Friend did answer, but basically they would have to face the bigger school first, and if the other school, like what was going on, they will try to fit a spot for that smaller school. So again, referencing back to KSU in Indiana. KSU played Indiana earlier this year. And if they liked the Big Ten that much, they would go and start having talks with the commissioner and then figure out if they would be a good fit for that system. Those types of things. And not only is it just athletics, there's also a lot of academic stuff that goes into it, as well as there are Big Ten consortiums, I'm sure SEC consortiums of like research and all that other good stuff. So there's a lot of things that got to fit together. Did I kind of explain that right?
Yeah.
Agree. So it's not like, oh gosh, what's the, like, in soccer, I only know just because
Premier League,
but you get relegated to like a lower league, and then it's not really like that. It's more, there's a little bit more buy-in and a little bit more research that goes into that, and literal buy-in. So yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Oh goodness.
I think D2 schools tend to attract more student athletes, people who are good at sports in high school, but they don't really think they're good enough to make it to professional sports, and they really do want to focus on their academics. And so there feels like there's more balance, and it could just be because the stronger athletes hit D1, and D1 gets more exposure, and people talk about it more, and they're bigger schools. But we've had D2 athletes in the NFL, so it's not like you can't get there. It's just the big names are all in D1, but there are like over 300 D1 schools, so it's huge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think the big names are the ones that go probably in the first round, but those are not necessarily the people that's filled through the rosters. There are a lot of small schools. As I still say, 1AA because I get mixed up with the letters, FBS, FCS. But there are plenty of pros from those smaller schools and in Division II as well. Because the one thing better than any other sport is the NFL knows where talent is and they can find
Yes.
it. And so no matter where you play, and a lot of times too, is you got to remember that a lot of players that are at small schools, or some of the players that are all at small schools, were actually recruited by the bigger schools, that they may have went to JUCO because they didn't have the grades or whatever the reason. They may have ended up at that small school. Those teams don't forget. They still have an eye out on those players, and that's how sometimes you'll see they'll transfer and go to another school or vice versa. But a lot of times they've been recruited by some of those schools. I know when I worked at, in college athletes, a lot of the teams will have players that could have been at any school because they were drafted by those schools. Also, the big players, if they're not playing, a lot of them don't want to just sit there on the bench. So they just transfer down and they go play at another school so they can play as well, because they also know that no matter the school, you can be drafted if you can play. And that's the thing about the NFL, that they do better than anybody else.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit, I think, last week or the week before. In this day and age of technology and video and stuff, it is so much easier. Scouts don't have to fly to you and watch you play. You can send them film. The most famous example I can think of is the one that our friend Liz Loza is the one who told me about it when I first heard it, which is Austin Eckler. He did not have a single offer from a D1 school. 27 running backs were taken before him in the draft. And look at what he did in the NFL. Look at how his career has gone. He was on my fantasy football team for quite a few years. I think Michelle's point is really the one that matters. If you have talent, they will find you and they will bring you up there. And you're right. There are some guys who move down to D2 just to know they can get playing time, either because they love the game or because they know, listen, if I sit on the bench for 3 years, nobody's ever going to see me play because I'm going to just sit there. If I go down here, I will get to play, improve my skills, and somebody will see me.
Yep.
Agree wholeheartedly. I mean, I think of somebody like Cam Newton, who started off at JUCO, junior college, and then made his way through, transferred a couple of times, and became Cam Newton.
So many examples. I mean, look at the Rams and the cornerback Kobe Durant, who played at South Carolina State, played in the Celebration Bowl. These are players who played at very small schools, and he's a starter and one of the best defensive players on the Rams. So it doesn't matter. Like I say, they'll find you. You can play, they'll find you. You just got to play.
Exactly.
They turn out to be the better pros because they've been playing longer too. Mind you, those people that are 1-year college players at the big schools don't always pan out versus those players that's been playing for 4 years and getting the experience.
Agree wholeheartedly. Yep. So they're out there. So I like that. We can take a look at another conference next week, I think. We'll have to figure it out, but I would love to do that. But now let's move into, since we talked about Indiana a little bit, we kind of mentioned it last week about the Heisman, that we don't really have a front runner. Did their quarterback make a statement this past weekend?
Fernando Mendoza.
Did he cross the Mendoza line?
I like him. I've been watching. I jumped on Indiana's bandwagon last year, and then they did let me down, but they came back strong this year once again. And so, I started out the same way I did last time. I watched the games. I'm like, oh, they winning. Then when they get like 3-0, I'm like, wait a minute, let me pay attention. But I do like the quarterback. I love the quarterback, and I think that because there are no front runners, everybody just wants to give it to whoever's the best person on the best team. And so that's where we are with Mendoza. Is he doing anything that's standing out as spectacular? He's led his team they're undefeated. That's what he's done. And he's probably part of the reason, but they also got a good running back, boy. Ooh, they have some runners back there. So, but they're winning. He's playing well. Everybody's trying to find someone. So he'll be your front runner because what it was what's my man Mateer, right? But then he got injured. They started losing, and he hasn't looked the same since he's been back. So, and Arch might sneak back in there if they keep winning. You never know. Even though he's young. That they'll just throw his name out there just to have it out there.
Just because they can, and see. Then once he maybe not this year, but next year, then he'll be.
My choice right now would be the running back from Notre Dame. I absolutely love that kid.
Jeremiah Love, no pun intended.
Yes, sir. Jeremiah Love. When I saw them when they played Miami in that season open, I'm like, "Whoa, this kid looks good," and he hasn't disappointed all season.
Yeah, I think for me the top 3 quarterbacks would be Mendoza from Indiana, and this week I think he really shined. I think up until now I just felt like he was managing the games and letting the whole team do it, and this week he took that team's destiny by the horns and had his Heisman moment. Justin Sand from Ohio State's getting some talk. I feel like that's another one where it's a whole complete team. Julian just needs to not make a mistake, and Ohio State might get their first Big Ten championship. Who impressed me the most this week, aside from Mendoza, was Marcel Reed, the quarterback from A&M. I still cannot believe the beatdown they put on BYU. I watch a lot of BYU football. I like that program and what they do. I love talking to their players at the Combine. And A&M, I don't know if it was because Mahomes was in the house or what at College Game Day, but what he did against BYU was very noteworthy and moved him right up into my rankings. I would love to see it be Love, just because I agree with you. I think these other quarterbacks are really good, but I don't know that they're carrying the team. I think they've both got solid running backs and solid receivers to help with things. But the rest of Notre Dame is not great, and Love is carrying that team, literally carrying them down the field and to victory. So I hope they consider a running back. I think the ballots will go out soon. They have to get the votes in by the early December. So it might, I can't find the actual deadline. It might even be before Indiana and Ohio State play in the Big Ten championship. And some of these teams that we're talking about, it'll be before the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see just how the regular season, what the voters think of the body of work they've put together.
Mm-hmm. Do you know when the votes and stuff go out usually, Michelle?
I don't really, not really.
For the ballots.
Early.
I was trying to Google it and I'm getting nothing.
Yeah. Jeremiah Love, I think, would be a very good candidate, but I just have Mendoza. I think it's going to be him. Granted, yes, I wanted the quarterback from Oklahoma because he looked really good at the beginning. He looked really good. But Mendoza has just done what he's done. Just keeps winning. Just
like Kate said, though, Marcel Reese is going to, as long as ATM keeps winning, they're going to go right on up. They're going to get up there in the top. And he's going to turn some heads because they're surprisingly good, actually.
Agreed.
I keep thinking they're going to lose every week, and I watch them, and they just, they're just winning, and they're winning.
There is a website, so there is a fan vote, and there's a website called Heisman Fan Vote 2025. It's an official Heisman website. It's HeismanFanVote.com, where the fans cast their votes, and then whoever wins the popular vote from the fans, that ballot is cast as one official vote among all the other things. So if you want to have your voice be heard, you can go pick somebody and vote in there. There's, I think, just about everybody available on the list. I was just scrolling through, looking for people I thought would make Michelle laugh. Carson Beck is on here. People could actually vote for Carson Beck. And I was just like, no, I would like Aside from his mom, I would love to know if anybody is voting for Carson Beck. Reuben Bain Jr., defensive lineman. There's just a lot of them. Bear Bachmeier, the quarterback from BYU. Now, he's a freshman. He's got time. I think that A&M game rattled his cage a little bit. It is a regular season award, so I guess it makes sense that the ballots would be going out and they would be due by the end of the regular season. The ceremony is usually like middle of December. Mm-hmm. So they've got those ballots have to, I'm imagining they're out now so people can, or at least the voters are starting to think about what they're going to do over the next couple weeks.
Agree. And Kristen, again, Kristen comes with the best questions. Who votes for the Heisman? If I'm not mistaken, it is who is it? Is it mostly media or media and coaches, or?
I'm Googling it because I don't know.
Media certainly, and it's probably like a little panel, but the media definitely votes for the Heisman.
Okay. I'm about to say, I thought media for sure.
A lot of them always are telling you who they voted for.
So according to the website I found, USA Today, there are 928 votes. 145 media votes from each of the 6 voting regions. So that takes up 870 of them. And then the other 57 come from former Heisman winners. They do not have to vote, but every former Heisman winner is allowed to vote. And then there's one fan vote. And then the 6 regions are Far West, Arizona, California, Hawaii out there. Mid-Atlantic, which would be Jersey, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, kind of that area. Midwest, Big Ten country, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio. Northeast, Connecticut, Massachusetts, up in New York, up in there. The South, which is basically Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee. And then Southwest, like Arkansas, Colorado, Nebraska, New Mexico, that area. So they pick media people in each of those areas, and that's who votes, which I find interesting. I don't know any of the Heisman voters. I'm more familiar with the process for Hall of Fame. I know who those voters are. I know who the ones from the Cleveland media people are. It's the same kind of thing with media people. But former Hall of Famers or current Hall of Famers don't automatically get to vote the way former Heisman winners. So like Baker Mayfield will get to vote, and like all these people I love those Heisman commercials, by the way. Those Saturday commercials where they talk about Heisman House and they have all the way back to Eddie George is in those commercials. Like, I love those. They get to vote. I'd love to know. I'll see if I can do some research. I'd love to know how many of them actually vote. How many of them, Desmond, like how many of them Heisman pose? How many of them actually vote?
Desmond probably votes because he's also a media person. So,
yep. He's very familiar with it. How many of those guys if they don't end up in the NFL, if they're not still in the NFL, if they move on, how many of them still love the game, pay attention to the game, are aware enough to cast a ballot? I mean, it's not difficult. Pick a Saturday, watch some games. People will jump out to you. So I will see if I can find out how many of them, the 57 living former Heisman Trophy winners, voted last year. We have 58 this year. So
how do they determine it if you guys get it? Is that even a tie? So I don't think there has been a tie ever in Heisman history.
No, but it's an even number of voters. So theoretically, it's 928. Theoretically, you could have a tie.
No, they'll break it.
They'll probably get it down to 2 and then just
each voter can choose up to 3 players on their ballot. First choice is worth 3 points. Second choice is worth 2 points, and then the third choice gets 1 point. The accounting firm from Deloitte counts the votes, and the 4 highest vote getters are announced as the finalists before they actually announce who the highest point total. Last year was our friend Travis Hunter. We love him. Dylan Gabriel, Travis Hunter, Ashton Jinsey, and Cam Ward, who are all starters in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
Whether I like it or not, were the 4 finalists last year. So I should hit Travis up on social media, ask him if he is going to cast a Heisman ballot this year. That might be fun to see if he answers.
He's recovering from surgery, so might as well, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, Niles does not get a vote, and he is telling me
he is not happy about it.
He is not happy about that. Niles, I know. Just a minute, buddy. Oh, goodness. So what games are coming up this weekend that we should kind of keep an eye on? Let's see.
Well, I will say that I will be attending the USC Iowa game. This is my first trip to the historic stadium at USC, and I'm excited about it. Although it's supposed to be raining, so
yeah.
And it's their homecoming, so listen there.
That'll be a fun game. They're both ranked. USC could do some things, so that'll be fun to watch. I keep forgetting it's a Big Ten game.
Ugh. Yeah.
Is it? Oh, shoot. Well, Pac-12.
Yeah. Well, because USC moved into our division.
I
mean, Oklahoma at Alabama should be interesting. Oklahoma's currently sitting at 11. Alabama's at 4. I don't know what a loss will do for Oklahoma. They've got 2, and they're sitting at 11, barely hanging on. I think a loss to Alabama may just drop them out of the top 12. It may, Georgia Tech's got a game this week. They win that. They're sitting all the way down at 16, but they're the best 1-loss team that's out of that top 12. Something I learned this week. So last year was the first year for this expanded format. And the way they did the buys was the top ranked team that was also a conference champion got a bye.
Mm-hmm.
This year, it's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep, because they didn't
really?
They took the conference championship out of it, which aggravated me because I felt like that was the only way they could maybe get Notre Dame to join a conference by having them never be able to get a bye. Now, 1, 2, 3, and 4 get a bye. If the top 25 sits the way it is now, Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, and Alabama would all get a bye. And the top 4 will not look like that when we get to the end of the season. But I just wanted to mention that because we had talked about it before, that they did make that change in how you earn a bye for this year.
Someone always gets jealous, and there's always something about the SEC. So somebody, I forget which one of those teams, they didn't feel like they should have been there, but they won a conference, they won their championship, and so it's always like that. But I feel like, what is the point of putting all of the emphasis on the conference championships if you're not going to give them something for doing it, for playing in it? That's why Notre Dame doesn't play in a conference right now.
Yeah,
because they don't have to.
They don't have to. There's no.
And I would never do it if I don't have to.
Exactly. If I don't have to, if y'all aren't going to reward me for it, then boom. Guess what I'm not doing? I'm not joining a conference.
Yep.
You should though, but that's another story for another.
So yeah, number 11 Oklahoma at number 4 Alabama. I think this is Oklahoma's season right here. I think if they lose this, I think they're going to drop out of the 12 and out of the playoff picture. Iowa at USC, Wisconsin at Indiana should be a blowout. Michigan at Northwestern, girl. I don't even know. I know Michigan's sitting at 18, but the injuries have decimated that team. Like, they don't have anyone playing right now that started week 1. And yet they're still sitting at 18. North Carolina State at the U. Number 10 at number 5 Georgia. That's the other. We got 2 rank games. So number
Texas
10
at Georgia.
Texas at Georgia. Yeah. Texas has rebounded surprisingly well from their early season issues. But again, you're sitting at 10 and the top 12 get into the playoff. I don't know if a loss to number 5 is enough to drop you out. But when you've already got 2 losses, I don't know that a 3-loss team should be in the top 12. No. And if Texas loses and if Oklahoma lose, that puts them both at 7 and 3. And you've already got 4 other teams from the SEC represented with Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, I don't need more SEC teams especially not with 3 losses. There are some very good 1-loss teams like Georgia Tech. BYU's only loss was that beatdown from A&M last week. Like I said, Georgia Tech is very good, and you've got some very good 2-loss teams in Utah, and even Miami that I would argue if they win out should be in that top 12 playoff in one of those spots above a 3-loss team.
Agreed.
So I think both of those teams are fighting for their playoff lives this week.
Yes. So this will be interesting for them, I think, this weekend to fight for their playoff lives. But it'll be fun because it's always fun. It's college football. It's a lot of fun. We tie our lives to teenagers.
Yeah. All right, Michelle, if you're going to be at USC, keep an eye out for number 80. His name is Sam.
Man, he had some catches last week. He had a great game. I was watching him. He had a great game last week. Listen.
Yeah.
Whichever one it was.
It's like the parent.
I didn't comment then, but I hate all of the double numbers. Yeah. I can't stand it. And that's the reason, because I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Just pick another number.
I agreed. I would my OCD, I already have trouble with the way the conferences are set up in both the NFL and the geographically. I don't know why I have California teams in the Big Ten.
Agreed.
We need to redo the whole thing. I'll work on a map. We'll redo the whole country. I need the even numbers on offense. I need the odd numbers on defense. And then I need structure. Like, I
just want
to go way farther than anybody else wants me to go.
I want the quarterbacks to wear quarterback numbers. I want the kickers to stop wearing the defensive lineman numbers. That's what I want them to do.
Quarterbacks and kickers from 1 to 19. That's it.
Please and thank you.
Please and thank you.
Thank you and please.
Yeah.
All right, friends.
That's why I got aggravated from an NFL perspective when Deshaun Watson got to Cleveland with number 4, because our kicker, Phil Dawson, was the highest point scorer on that team for a lot of years, and he wore number 4. And we wanted to retire that jersey, and then they gave it to Deshaun, and I'm like, you do not sully Phil Dawson's jersey. We love a kicker in Ohio, because when your team sucks, the only person scoring is the kicker, so that's who you got to love.
I know that life.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Jason Hansen was number 4 for the Lions for a long, long time. And he was our kicker. And he was the leading scorer. So, yes, I feel your pain.
Like, I can't have someone else in that number.
Oh, Lisa. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa. All right, Coach. I will work on – I have my NFL map done. I'll dig that out for next Tuesday. I'll show my NFL map, and I will redo the conferences. I don't think there should be more than 10 teams in a conference. You should have to play everyone in your conference in a season. You should. You should have to play every team in your conference. That's 9 weeks, and they play, 11, 12 weeks? So that still gives you 2 or 3 teams outside the conference that you can play. Plenty of room for competition. But I'll work on my maps for you. I'll get my new division lineup.
There you go. All right, friends, it has been another fun week of football, talking college football with you guys. Chat, we love y'all. Keep it up. Our viewers, make sure you come over to YouTube next week so you guys can chat with us, because we love it. We love to hear you guys. We like to see what you guys are thinking. Michelle, have fun in California at USC, Iowa.
Yes, stay safe.
Let's just pray my flight gets out.
Yes.
All right, you guys. Well, we will see you all next week. Have a good weekend. Bye.